The bones were broken, but not by accident. Split open, scraped clean, marrow sucked dry. These weren't animal remains. They were human. A child. A mother. A brother. All eaten, not in savagery, but in ritual, survival, or maybe even love. What kind of people looked into the eyes of the dead and chose to consume them? What if they were us? Buried beneath the forest floor of northern Spain lies a cave that holds one of the most disturbing secrets of our species. It's called El Sidrón. From the outside, it's just a crack in the earth. Silent, dark, forgotten. But inside, a nightmare frozen in stone. Scattered across the cave floor were the broken bones of at least 12 Neanderthals. Men, women, even children. Their skulls were fractured, their ribs split open, their long bones cleaved down the middle like someone was after the marrow. This wasn't the work of predators. It was intentional, human, and coldly precise. The year was 2000 when researchers began excavating El Sidrón. What they uncovered shook the scientific world. Clear-cut marks on human bones, patterns eerily identical to butchering animal carcasses. Jaws had been removed. Muscle-bearing limbs were stripped clean. Even tongues had been taken out from the base of the jaw, a technique still seen in traditional animal processing today. But the victims were family. A father, a daughter, a teenage boy, all of them related. Why? Why would one group of Neanderthals butcher and consume their own kin? And this wasn't the only case. Deep in the Cheddar Gorge, archaeologists found more human bones, with the same chilling patterns. Not only were they split for marrow, but some skulls had been carefully shaped into cups, bowls, as if used in ritual, as if this wasn't just about hunger, but meaning. These weren't random one-offs. They formed a global pattern. From France to Croatia, from Germany to America, we keep finding the same thing: human bones, butchered like prey. And every time we find them, the same question hangs in the air. What kind of people eat their own? We picture ourselves around that fire. Could you do it? Could you? If it was your only choice? Or worse, what if it wasn't? To the untrained eye, a broken bone is just that, a break. But to a trained forensic anthropologist, it's a confession. Every scrape, notch, and fracture tells a story. And in the case of Paleolithic remains, some of those stories are hard to stomach. At Gough's Cave, researchers discovered multiple human bones with parallel cut marks, located exactly where butchers today slice to remove muscle. Clean incisions near joints. Chisel marks where tendons were severed. Ribs broken just like you'd crack them to extract the heart or lungs. And then, the skulls. Instead of crushing them outright, as a predator might, the tops of skulls had been carefully removed, the edges smoothed, likely to hold liquid. As if someone had held these skulls in their hands and drank from them. Was it ritual? Was it necessity? This wasn't just speculation, it was methodical analysis. Scientists compared these human remains with animal bones found in the same layers: deer, wild horses, aurochs. The patterns of processing were nearly identical. Same tools, same cuts, same goal: extract every usable part. The evidence mounted. These people weren't just disposing of the dead. They were processing them, consuming them. And that horrifying reality only got clearer with the rise of microware analysis. With scanning electron microscopes, researchers detected microscopic striations, tiny parallel grooves, that could only be made by stone blades sawing through tendons and cartilage. Some bones were even burned, indicating they were cooked before being consumed. And others showed signs of perimortem trauma, wounds inflicted right before or after death, suggesting violence, or worse, murder before the meal. They weren't mindless. They weren't monsters. They had tools. They had language. They had families. And they still ate each other. When the first reports of Paleolithic cannibalism hit the academic journals, the reactions were explosive. For decades, the public, and even many scientists, held on to the comforting myth of early humans as simple, noble survivors. The idea of cannibalism shattered that image. Suddenly, our ancestors were painted as savage, desperate, even brutal. Newspapers ran headlines screaming of cannibal cavemen, prehistoric monsters, and the dark side of humanity. Popular culture fed off this, reinforcing stereotypes of the caveman as a brutish, violent creature lurking in the shadows. Yet, as the scientific community dug deeper, opinions began to shift. Some researchers argued that cannibalism was a sign of social breakdown or extreme stress, the last act of starving groups on the brink of extinction. Others proposed a more complex view. Cannibalism wasn't just survival, but part of ritual, social cohesion, or even medicine. The deliberate crafting of skull cups suggested a meaning far beyond mere hunger. Still, resistance remained. Many found the idea too disturbing, too alien to accept. But the bones didn't lie. They told stories of humanity's darkest hours, and perhaps, of its greatest adaptability. Because cannibalism, shocking as it is, reveals something essential about our species. Our capacity to face death. Our ability to endure. Our struggle to survive against impossible odds. Imagine standing on a vast, frozen plain, where the sun barely rises above the horizon. The wind bites through every layer of skin and bone. Snow blankets everything for months on end. This was the world of our Paleolithic ancestors during the Ice Ages, a brutal, merciless environment where survival was a daily battle against nature itself. The planet was locked in cycles of freezing cold. Glaciers stretched for thousands of miles, swallowing forests and rivers beneath ice. Food became scarce, and the once plentiful herds of mammoths and reindeer vanished or migrated to safer grounds. Humans were pushed to their limits. Starvation lurked at every corner. In this frozen wasteland, hunger was not a threat, it was a constant reality. Archaeological sites across Europe and Siberia paint a grim picture. At places like Goff's Cave in England and El Sidrón in Spain, cannibalism coincided with evidence of climatic stress and food shortages. The bones, broken open to extract marrow and carefully butchered, tell a story of desperate measures taken in desperate times. But starvation cannibalism wasn't just about filling empty stomachs. It was a matter of survival for entire groups, a last resort when the options ran out. This grim reality isn't confined to the distant past. In 1846, the Donner Party, a group of American pioneers trapped by snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains, faced the impossible. Stranded without food, freezing and starving, some resorted to cannibalism to stay alive. Their story shocked the world, but it also reflected a timeless truth. When the body demands sustenance and nature offers nothing, taboos can shatter. Our ancestors weren't immune to this primal instinct. Their bones prove it. They ate their own dead not out of cruelty, but because the frozen world left them no choice. Across the Paleolithic world, starvation cannibalism left its mark not just on bones, but on the survival story of our species. Take, for example, the site of Krapina, in modern-day Croatia, where 130,000-year-old Neanderthal remains show evidence of systematic defleshing. Cut marks cover the bones, indicating the removal of meat, tendons, and even brains. Was this a feast of desperation? A group pushed to the edge by harsh winters or dwindling prey? Farther north, in the Siberian tundra, the site of Teshiktash reveals a different story. Here, a young Neanderthal was buried with his horns of a mountain goat, a sign of respect, but also the scars on his bones suggest he was hunted, perhaps even cannibalized, by his own kind. These clues whisper stories of survival against impossible odds. When hunger gnawed deeper than ever, survival instincts kicked in, crossing the ultimate taboo. But starvation cannibalism wasn't always about mere sustenance. At sites like Goff's Cave, some evidence hints at more complex social motivations. The careful shaping of skulls into cups points to ritualistic use, blurring the line between survival and symbolism. Anthropologists argue that starvation cannibalism and ritual cannibalism may have overlapped. Food scarcity created the initial conditions, but social and spiritual frameworks shaped how these acts were perceived and carried out. It's a haunting reminder. Survival sometimes demands choices that challenge everything we consider human. While hunger drove many to cannibalism, the story doesn't end there. Some acts went beyond mere survival, they carried deep social, spiritual, and symbolic weight. Take the skull cups found at Gough's Cave and Mullagersi in France. These were not hastily fashioned tools of necessity, they were carefully shaped, polished, and possibly used in ritual ceremonies. The same hands that hunted and ate kin also crafted objects of meaning from their bones. Why? Some anthropologists suggest that consuming parts of the dead was a way to absorb their strength, to keep their spirit alive within the community. In harsh environments where death was ever present, such rituals might have been a source of comfort, a means to confront mortality and reinforce social bonds. In many hunter-gatherer cultures today, consuming the dead is part of complex rites of passage or mourning. It's not a barbaric act, but a deeply meaningful practice woven into the fabric of survival. So, when we look at the Paleolithic evidence, cannibalism might have been a grim necessity when food was scarce, a ritual act to honor and remember, a social tool to strengthen community ties in an unforgiving world. In this light, cannibalism isn't a mark of savagery. It's a testament to human adaptability, the lengths to which our ancestors went to survive, connect, and find meaning in a brutal world. Imagine a world without tools, no sharp edges to cut, no spears to hunt, no fire to cook. For our Paleolithic ancestors, mastering tools was not just innovation, it was survival itself. The earliest stone tools, known as Oldowan technology, appeared roughly 2.6 million years ago. These were simple but effective, rocks chipped to produce sharp flakes for cutting meat, breaking bones, and crafting other implements. It might seem crude, but these first tools sparked a revolution. Crafting tools required skill, patience, and knowledge of the environment. Selecting the right stone, striking precise blows to shape edges, each strike was a calculated step toward survival. These tools expanded what early humans could eat, opening up access to marrow and tougher plants. They enabled early hunters to scavenge more efficiently and defend themselves from predators. Over time, technology evolved. The Acheulean hand axe, emerging around 1.76 million years ago, was a leap forward, symmetrical, sharp, and versatile. It was the Swiss Army knife of the Paleolithic. Later, the Levallois technique introduced precision flaking, producing thinner, sharper blades. Each new advancement wasn't just about tools, it was a leap in cognitive ability, planning, and social learning. In essence, tools weren't just survival gear. They were the first signs of human creativity, intelligence, and culture. Stone tools may get the spotlight, but our Paleolithic ancestors mastered a whole arsenal of materials. Wood, bone, and ivory were just as crucial, though they rarely survived the ravages of time. Wood was everywhere, the backbone of everyday life. Spears carved from sturdy branches transformed hunting. Unlike stone, wood could be shaped into lightweight, balanced weapons, perfect for throwing. Sites like Skaaningen in Germany revealed exquisitely crafted wooden spears dating back 400,000 years, a testament to skill and foresight. Bone and ivory brought a new level of sophistication. Delicate needles fashioned from animal bones allowed our ancestors to sew clothing, vital for braving icy climates. Harpoons carved from ivory and bone expanded fishing techniques, opening new food sources. At Sabudu Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found bone tools used to puncture and carve hides, showing early expertise in clothing and shelter making. These materials demanded patience and precision. Carving ivory or bone was an art, requiring knowledge of anatomy and tool function. The tools were often decorated, blending utility with aesthetic. This multi-material toolkit reveals the incredible adaptability of Paleolithic humans, constantly innovating with the resources around them to thrive in changing environments. Stone shaped the foundation of survival, but wood, bone, and ivory were the tools of mastery, the technologies that truly set humans apart. Tools didn't just change how Paleolithic humans survived, they transformed how they lived together. Crafting complex tools required learning, teaching, and cooperation. Knowledge passed from elders to youngsters, forming early traditions and culture. Imagine a young apprentice watching a master craft a spear, learning subtle techniques that could mean life or death. Tool making likely became a communal activity, strengthening social bonds. Sharing tools and the food they helped procure fostered trust and reciprocity within bands. This cooperation wasn't just practical, it laid the groundwork for complex social networks and collective identity. Some tools carried symbolic meaning. Decorated handles or engraved designs hint at status, identity, or spiritual beliefs. These objects were more than just tools, they were extensions of human expression and social connection. In short, tool innovation wasn't only about survival mechanics. It was a catalyst for language, culture, and the social complexity that defines us as humans. Imagine a flickering fire deep inside a dark cave. Shadows dance on the walls as hands trace images. Animals, humans, abstract shapes. These are not mere decorations. They are the first whispers of human imagination and spirituality. The Paleolithic period wasn't just about survival. It was about meaning. For the first time, humans began to express thoughts and emotions beyond immediate needs. Cave paintings, like those at Lascaux and Chauvet in France, reveal a rich symbolic world. Ochre, a vivid red pigment, was ground into powder and mixed with water or animal fat to create paint. Portable figurines, such as the Venus of Willendorf, embody ideas of fertility, beauty, or divine power. These creations connect us to the inner lives of our ancestors, their fears, hopes, and dreams. Music, too, emerged during this era. Bone flutes dating back over 40,000 years have been found, capable of producing haunting melodies. Though intangible, music likely played a vital role in rituals, social cohesion, and emotional expression. This dawn of symbolism marks a turning point. Humans were no longer just reacting to the world, they were beginning to interpret and transform it. Beyond art and music, Paleolithic humans began developing rituals, structured practices that gave order to life and death. These rituals weren't random. They were deliberate attempts to connect with forces beyond the tangible world. Burials from sites like Shanidar Cave in Iraq reveal care for the dead, graves adorned with flowers and tools, suggesting belief in an afterlife or spiritual journey. Some skeletons show evidence of healing injuries, indicating compassion and social care. From simple survival, humans were now creating meaning, building the foundations of religion, spirituality, and the complex cultural systems that shape us today. The Paleolithic mind gifted humanity more than survival skills. It birthed creativity, empathy, and abstract thinking. These intangible legacies echo in every part of our modern lives. The symbolic art, music, and rituals of our ancestors reveal a capacity for imagination and connection that transcends time. They show us that early humans were not merely animals struggling to survive, but beings exploring what it means to be human. Today, when we create art, share stories, or gather in ceremonies, we continue a tradition that began tens of thousands of years ago in flickering cave shadows. The Paleolithic mind laid the foundation for language, culture, and spirituality, the very essence of human identity. As we face new challenges in a modern world, remembering this legacy reminds us of our resilience, creativity, and deep need for connection. The story of the Paleolithic is not just history, it's a mirror reflecting who we are and who we might become. As we close this journey through the Paleolithic world, remember, these early humans were far from primitive brutes. They were skilled survivors, innovators, artists, and community builders. Their fires warmed more than their bodies, they ignited the spark of humanity itself. Through tools, art, and social bonds, they carved a path that leads straight to us. Their challenges, triumphs, and creativity echo across millennia, inviting us to reflect on our own place in this unfolding story. So, what do you think? Did their world surprise you? Challenge what you thought you knew. Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take on this incredible journey through time. If you're hungry for more mind-blowing stories from our ancient past, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Dive deeper into human history with my other videos, because the story of us is the most thrilling story there is. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.